Good morning. How we doing? Good. Are we ready for a great day? Yes. Come on, are we ready for a great day? Yes. Yeah, come on. It's like a vestige of normalcy in the world in this one little building right here. I love it. So, hey, let me just say this. First of all, this is my favorite time of the year. We do big events where we usually get like churches or convention centers or whatever else. Obviously, we can't do that right now. So we're packing out. We had like 500 people want tickets. You are the lucky few. Give everybody a round of applause for the lucky few. Yeah, come on. So thank you. I will need that. Round of applause for my son, Zach. All right. So let's be clear. So starting out to get a new year for you and a new you've got to start with where you're at now. I can't find out how to get to where I want to go until I find out where I am. Can I get an amen for that? So first of all, why did I play that? I mean, like, I usually start off with like high energy, you know, the whole, elevation church stuff. Yeah. And then some of you guys are like, oh, crap, he started with the whole COVID thing. Here's why. Because for a lot of people, in a lot of ways, last year was an absolute disaster dumpster fire. Like, there was just some crazy stuff. And what I've noticed, I've been actually treating patients for 25 years, 23 years in practice, and as a student, 25 years. And I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. I've seen more people having aches and pains, weight loss resistance, symptoms that were gone, coming back, all these different things. And it's not that this works any less than it ever has. What it is, watch this now, a small, ever escalating amount of background stress that has begun in the mid-March and has continued to escalate until now. And the problem with this, I took a lot of years of cognitive psychology. When someone asks you, hey, how you doing? Instantaneously, your psychology goes, okay, let's just see, how am I doing? If you really are going to, unless it's just a re-jerk, I'm doing great. But if you really think about it, you're really only comparing your neurology, your emotions, how you're doing spiritually, physically, emotionally, to about 2 days to 7 days back. And what I'm getting at is, if you go back, if I could take all of you guys emotionally, physiologically, how you were doing back in February when you were walking around. Remember when you could see everybody's faces? You're like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And you could get on flights. You're like, what's up? And you're rubbing shoulders with people. And you weren't literally walking 6 feet around people like this because everybody had the plague. If I could go back and put you in your body in February, it would be the greatest jacuzzi experience in your life. You'd be like, oh my God, that's so good. Oh, this feels so nice. And what's happened is it was a slow escalation so that now, watch this, when I ask people if they're doing okay, a lot of times they say yes, and you don't really consciously know how crazy it's gotten. Here's a great test. And don't answer and don't look at your spouse. Caught you. If something has happened that has happened in the past, or just one little thing is added into your schedule, if you feel exhausted, you're the person I'm talking to. If you have that one phone call you needed to make, and it ended up you were on hold for longer than 7 minutes, just about your whole day is ruined. Like if something happened with your car, something happened unexpected, you're just exhausted. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because if I go, like, I don't know if you guys know this, I've told some of you guys, last Thursday, so over a week ago, I literally took everything about this presentation and I put it in the trash. I put myself 6 weeks behind. We worked 22 hours last weekend trying to catch back up again because I did not want rah motivation for this group or anybody else. I did not want rah motivation because it does not last very long. And although we love it, we get excited, Dr. Dave was so funny, I got some treats, it was great. Guess what? It doesn't end with something changed. Anybody want to leave here with some real ability to change? Right? So here's the thing. This may be the most important thing that we've ever done. And because in the human history, nobody here has gone through what you've gone through over the last 10 months. It's never happened before. And so what I want you to get is we've got to start with, okay, how did we get here? So can we just start with that? How did we get here? Well, a guy named Ferguson in the UK was an epidemiologist, and he's gotten everything he ever said basically wrong. He was the guy that said that everybody's going to die from the bird flu. Remember that? Was he right or wrong? Then he said everybody's going to die of SARS-CoV. Remember that? So back then, was he right or wrong? Wrong. Then he said there was going to be a great flu epidemic. Was he right or wrong? And then he said 3.4 to 4.2, something like this, don't quote me on that, million Americans are going to die of this COVID-19. Was he right or wrong? He was wrong. But we had these epidemiological theories, and we moved forward because we wanted to slow the curve. Remember that? And so what happened was things started to change a little bit. And I'm all about education and saving lives. The problem with it is there is education and there's indoctrination. And indoctrination means I'm going to teach a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Now, what does that mean? That means I can't see both sides of the coin. If I can't see this and this and go, okay, that seems right to me, then all I have is what I'm given. Anybody see some censorship going on right now? In fact, let me tell you, I don't know that the people that aren't here today will actually see this video, because as soon as I put it up, guess what's going to happen to my site? It's coming down. And so I don't want to speak into that, but let's just go through this. Is it education or is it indoctrination? As soon as someone starts to try and mold your thought process into everybody else's, now I believe personally, and I'm just going to ask you to answer the question for yourself, do we have a problem? So let's just start back. So where we come from, okay? So after 10 months of working at home, and if you have children at home going, do they go to school? Do they stay home? If they stay home, who's their teacher? Because I don't know about you, but I helped my 10-year-old, my fourth grader, with math the other day, and I realized that she's outpaced me for what I remember about math. And so I'm like, now what do we do? And now watch this, your workstation at home, how ergonomic is that, right? How's that feel? And then trying to live in your home, have a bubble of peace like your home's supposed to be, and bring your workplace into that. How's that been working for the last 10 months? And watch this, don't even talk about the stress of mask shaming. Whether you believe in masks, whether you don't believe in masks, but they somehow get down below your nose and you've got the 17-year-old pimply-faced kid at the grocery store going, can you get your mask up? Can you get your mask up? And what's happening? You're inside going, I'm going to rip your mask off your face, right? So all of a sudden you're getting like this stirred up inside, like you have to go fight a battle every day. That's stress. And then don't even mention what happened this week, because if one mask is good, two's got to be better. And if two masks are good, three's got to be better. And I have a perfect recipe for immortality. Wear 17. And actually, I was thinking about just saran wrap. Saran wrap's probably the best mask. You just wrap it around your head like this, around the tongue, like this, right? But what about this? So social distancing or anti-social distancing. Social distancing came because it was a junior high science project, and it was never proven ever in science that it helped prevent a transmission of any virus or pandemic ever. And yet we accepted it, lock and barrel, just everything. And just so you know, the isolation that it creates, just so you know, cognitive psychology-wise, the health of the people that are in isolation is so unhealthy, it's equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now, some of you guys, listen to me, some of you guys have theoretically smoked 15 cigarettes a day since March. And here's the thing, I get it, but I'm a social person. And it's like someone goes, are you still hugging patients? I'm like, yep, still hugging patients. I'm still hugging patients. Some of you guys, I had a lady, it was a couple months ago, actually several months ago, she came in, and I haven't seen her since this thing started. And I hugged her, and she broke down crying. Not the kind of crying like a little tear, like ugly cry. Like this, because her husband had died last year, and she said it's the first human interaction and the first hug that she's received since March, and I think this was like October. Do you see where we're going with this? Not healthy. So where are we at? Basically, the State of the Union is this. We are the sickest country on the face of planet Earth, and we were before this. And if you look at all the similar countries for cardiovascular disease, respiratory diseases, and diabetes, guess what? We are number one in a bad way. And the reason that's important is guess what we keep hearing about all the time? Comorbidities this, comorbidities that when it comes to corona, right? Well, guess what the comorbidities, the number one are? What the three diseases that I just showed were number one. And even the people that are talking about this, the average age is 81 for the person who dies of COVID, and they have 2.9 comorbidities, which means the person that dies usually has 3 of these. And the cool thing about all these comorbidities, they're all preventable and reversible. Did you get that? Except for, watch this, in public health, are we actually talking about that? Are we talking about reversing this? Here's the thing. Did you know 96% of the people that die of COVID are actually deficient in vitamin D? So is public health, are we talking about vitamin D? Are we talking about getting out in the fresh air and fellowship with one another and getting adjusted and eating right? We're not talking about any of those things. What is public health focused on completely? Virus, 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 virus. Because they want you to focus on what? Virus. If the enemy's the virus, then yes, then more masks probably are good. In fact, the best thing you can do is just wrap your head in plastic. It's really 100% effective. The enemy's not the virus, though. The enemy is the lack of health. And if we're not talking about health, then we're losing. Does everybody get that? Can I get an amen? So here's the thing, though. They're going to tell you in public health to do what? Slather antimicrobials and everything, mask up, lock down, isolate yourself, and wait for what? Wait for the vaccine, except for, we've only had 30 days of the vaccine, okay? The data says that only 10% of all adverse reactions are reported, and we've had 40,000 reactions in 1 month. And if you do the math, that's 400,000 reactions to this vaccine. It is the most dangerous vaccine that's ever been produced in the history of mankind and has more similarity with gene therapy than it does vaccination. Got it? Anything that has to be cooled to a negative 90 degrees, otherwise it becomes active, is more of a bioweapon gene therapy than it is a vaccination. Everybody get that? And so, but wait. But still, even if it's dangerous, shouldn't we all just do it so we can get back to normal again, right? But wait. Even if we believe it, come on, let's just get back to normal. Well, this was from this week. Now what are we going to do, right? Vaccinated, you're still going to spread but here's the thing. What we know now is this. If you start talking about the devastations of vaccines or the devastations of our reaction to the virus and the things that we've done, if you've done that, you've run into a wall of bullets probably, right? Because how dare you talk about the economic devastation to the world or our country, because people matter way more. And listen, every single death, I don't care if you're 120 and you die, it's still devastating and it's still a loss. But what we have to do is we have to balance some things. And again, I'm not saying money's more important than people or businesses are more important than people, but here's the thing. If you say anything other than the lives of people, you're selfish and you're a bastard. But watch this. I think you're selfish if you don't talk about that there's 100,000 businesses that will never open again. I went through a bankruptcy as a kid and I was scarred. There are people whose entire life savings, their dreams, generational businesses that have been lost because of this. And watch this. We are in now record amounts of depression and anxiety and stress and suicides that we have never seen before. And watch this. Not adults, but children. 25%. Everybody say 25. 25% of children are now thinking about suicide. These are children. Did you get that? In fact, in Las Vegas schools, the superintendent literally had to push to open schools again, and I quote, because he said, we now know we can no longer simply look at COVID numbers because of the wreckage that this has caused with how many children are committing suicide. And don't even get me started on child abuse. 1,493% increase in child abuse in this one place. And do you know how they found out that there was child abuse? Children were coming in with head injuries. And so I bring it up to say this. Listen, if you take people who have addictive behaviors and you lock them down for long enough, addictive behaviors get what? Worse. If you have people that have anger issues and emotional problems that aren't dealt with and you lock them down, they get what? Worse. And so here's the point. You can never go against the law that is how the body works. You can never go against it. There are certain sciences, yes, that are paid for, but there are certain sciences that are real. Gravity, actually, what's funny is they actually had to do a study to prove that parachutes actually work. I don't need a study. Just give me the parachute. But if you go against natural laws, your life or the life of society will become, basically what I said, a dumpster fire, and we have currently seen that. Does that make sense? So what do we have to do? What has it left us with? Watch this. We now, watch this, eat 12 hours a day, 90% of us. We become insulin resistant, 70% of us are overweight, and guess what? The plague is not the virus. Watch this, hear me out. The plague is not a virus that has a 99.96 survival rate. The plague is what we've done in our reaction to it. And so what we have to do is to get a new year and a new you, we have to begin by going, okay, without judgment on who made the calls, because this is not a red problem or a blue problem or a Republican problem or a Democrat problem. This is not an administration. This is our problem. We are all in this boat. And I hate to have like a quote-unquote thing, but in this together thing, we're all in together, happens to be really true, right? And I don't want to hear, if one of you guys say a new norm, I'm going to jump right off the stage like a stage dive. But we all are in this all together. So how do we get out of this? Well, first of all, don't just be lighter on the way out. We're going to show you how to lose weight, but this is not just a weight loss day today. A lot of you, in fact, there'll be more weight loss because of this seminar than any seminar we've ever done. Because some of you guys are just poised and you've not been able to break through and you've had weight loss resistance because of the stress. But it's not about being lighter in a casket eventually. This is about being healthy right now, right here. Got it? And if you're healthy, you just tend to be leaner. Everybody with me? So we need a plan. What's the plan? Everybody ready for a plan? Yes. Say, I'm ready for a plan. All right, so here's the plan. It's 4 things. Number 1, we're going to work the system. We're going to invest the time. We're going to turn up the intensity. And last but not least, we're going to problem solve along the way. System. Everybody wants a system, right? Everybody wants a system. You kind of want that secret hack. Well, this is it. Some of you guys have had it, but you've not dialed it in just yet. Some of you guys have never heard this. Guests may not have ever heard this. There is a system. Now, as soon as you get the system, great, I got the system. Anybody buy a system? Anybody buy like an exercise system to get really, really fit, and then it didn't work? You know why? Because you only played it twice and you didn't do it more than 3 times, right? And so as soon as you get the system, great, but guess what you got to do? Say it. You got to invest the time. What are you going to eat? When are you going to eat? How are you going to eat? How much are you going to eat, right? And then workouts. When are you going to work out? What's the workout going to be? If I'm going to do weights, what weights? What arm group? What arms, legs, back? Like if I'm going to do cardio, when am I going to do it? What kind of cardio? Like you have to put some time. And here's the thing. Do not do me the disfavor of leaving this place today and not work and put the time into the system that you have. Got it? It would have been a waste of time. Good time. Got some free stuff. This is not what today's about. But as soon as you get that, there's 2 things that have to be turned up. Your commitment and your intensity for your focus. What do I mean by that? Listen, life is going to happen. Some of you guys, when you got to the New Year's, were like, yeah, we're into 2021, getting rid of 2020. Like, yes. And you look back, you're like, oh, crap, it followed me. Guess what? We're still on an ever-changing plane right now, guys. Guess what that means? You may try some stuff, get some results, and then hit a plateau. And guess what that means? You got to do what? Pivot, problem solve along the way, and keep going again. What does that look like? This is literally what success looks like actually. However, if I could make this a whole lot more squiggly, this is life in 2020, right? Life in 2020 was like, what used to work, what? Doesn't work anymore. Like some of you guys are like, I've been doing all the same things I usually do to lose weight, and I haven't lost any weight. Anybody feel that since, last? Yeah, me too. I'm usually around between 208 and 212. I've been all the way up to 219, and we've been working out 7 days a week since October 26th. And so the reason we're doing this is because we had to figure this out on our own. And I'm happy to say that I broke that plateau and I'm keeping going. But the point is, how do we get through this and what do we do? Let me tell you how we do this. You guys ready? As much as I like those 4 things in the system, this is what it is. And this is the pastoral heart for me. I walk into every room with all of you guys, and guests, I can't wait to walk into rooms with you and encourage you and must be on this journey together. However, I walk in those rooms, and I am jacked up before I get here because I never want you to have a negative doctor or somebody's having a bad day. When I walk in there, I'm ready to go because the only thing I want you to get from me is hope and encouragement. But can I tell you a little secret and be transparent? There's sometimes I need a lot of encouragement, and there's sometimes I need a lot of hope. And I get that. You would think from like reading and watching. No, you know where I get that? Everybody raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. I get that from you guys. I walk in, I see Scott on Monday morning, right? Karen, and Tony comes in, and she's been here forever. And she's like, yeah, my MS is gone. And she gives her testimony. Every time I turn, I'm like, yes, I can do this, right? I get, texts from people, and I encouraged all the time. Watch this. Like Tony, right, comes in, spends 6 months here, doesn't change his diet. He's still drinking big gulps. He still stops and gets donuts like multiple times a week. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? And then finally he's like, yeah, no, I'm kind of ready for it. He makes a couple little changes. He works the system, invests a little bit of time, and he's already, in a short amount of time, dropped 33 pounds. Can I get an amen for Tone, right? Now, but watch. Every Saturday, I get a text from Kristen. Where's Kristen at? Is she here? Kristen. Oh, she's right in front of me. It's like a ninja. See how fast she is now? So Kristen doesn't know this, but more times than not, probably 55, 60, sometimes 70% of the weeks that she's actually sent that text, this is actually a text from her. And she sends me her picture, and she sends me a screenshot of the map from her phone that maps where she went and the speeds in which she went. And there's so many times that I almost was ready to give up. I'm like, man, I'm tired, and there's so many people that I care about that may or may not be doing great, and I just feel like I'm wearing the weight of the world. And then I get a text from Kristen. I'm like, yes, I can totally do this. And so guess what? I walk into the room, and some of you guys needed hope that day, and you got hope from me. But you didn't get hope from me. You did it directly, but indirectly, I didn't have hope for myself. I got it from Kristen. Kristen's lost over 70 pounds. Her husband's lost over 40 pounds. right? These guys have killed it. And not because they started taking some kind of magical root from a dark place in Africa or some kind of weird thing. No, you know what they did? They dug in and they started just being consistent. They actually took, they found out what the system is. They put the time in. They turned up the intensity for commitment and their intensity for their workouts and their focus. And guess what? They problem solved along the way. Can you imagine losing 70? That's like a whole person, right? And so guess what? Here's how we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to get through the. I'll give that to you. This is how we're going to get through this year, not just this makeover season, not just to get you the results from today. Everybody, look at my face. This is the most important thing I'm going to say today. You're going to be successful this year because we're going to lean into each other, and when I get results, it's going to encourage you, and when you get results, it's going to encourage me, and it's going to give you hope. It's going to give me hope, and this is the whole umbrella of today. We're going to be infectious, but not with a virus, but with hope for each other. Right. Sound good? All right.
Good job, baby. You don't want to get my lipstick on you, do you? Let's get a little red lipstick on him, right? Rebecca, come on up here. We got another couple more testimonies. Has that been good so far, guys? Yeah? All right, give her a round of applause because she is hating me right now. I just told her, she said, no, you're going to do my testimony. I'm like, no, like you just rocked it just now. Like you need to share your testimony. But this is a kind of a fear, right? This is a fear. But you guys will be so blessed by her testimony. Okay, so let me get you started. So let's start with what we just talked about in there, the first piece. So Bella was the first piece for you. So Bella is her first baby. So tell us about Bella.
So I started working here almost, 7 years ago, here in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It was about a year or so after that. I had a fibroid inside my uterus. Told us we couldn't get pregnant. I did metabolics 3 times. On the third time, because the second time I got some toxicity stuff. Yep. But when I cleared up my metabolics, I got pregnant within 6 weeks. So that was my first, Bella.
So booyah to the doctor that told her she couldn't get pregnant, right?
Well, it's not just that. Right. Like my doctor, before she was born, told us, or told me, she was like, I didn't think we were going to be here. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I didn't think you were going to carry this pregnancy to term. So she was, even my doctor was like, this is a miracle right here. So, and that was my first. She'll be 5 in a couple weeks. And then I had a couple miscarriages after that. And then I got pregnant with my son, Jacob. He just turned 1 not last month, November. So
miracle number 2.
Miracle number 2, yeah. So I've been doing
and then
I skipped the metabolics part. I never took any prenatal vitamins. I never did any of that stuff. I just did my metabolic supplements the whole time.
You did exactly what your test told you needed to do, right?
And I got adjusted every day of both pregnancies.
And now you're 1 year he's 1 year old. So you have a 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And what are you doing now with your health? Tell them about where you're at now.
With 2 babies, miscarriages, and 30 months total of breastfeeding, I was finally able to start doing the intermittent fasting. So I started doing that about 2 months ago.
Which we'll teach you guys about that later.
Started doing that about 2 months ago. So I'm down about 20 pounds so far. Yeah. So up and down. Lots of pregnancies and 2020 was rough. So hit a couple obstacles there. But
do you guys see why she needed to do that? Right? So proud of you. Awesome. Good job. All right, Zoe. Where is my Zoe? Here's another one, guys. Okay, so do you guys remember who came to the makeover a year ago and heard Zoe's testimony a year ago? Okay. So take them back. So most of them weren't here. So take them back. 1 year ago, you decided what at the last makeover? 1 year ago. It was a weight loss makeover 1 year ago.
Well, me and my mom had a bet. And she was like,
okay.
I bet you can't go the whole month of January without sugar or bread and working out.
It was
5
like
times
solid 5 essentials. I was really rigid with the
she
5 essentials with her. I was really.
Very rigid. But we bet, and then I kind of just was like, okay, whatever, I can do it. Like, I got you, Mom. Like, whatever. And then I did it, and I lost 15 pounds last semester or.
And the other piece was that it was like the skin that was bothered. Like it was a big skin issue.
My skin was just really, obviously growing up in teenage years and whatever, it just was crazy rashy and red all the time. And I noticed I didn't, you did notice that my skin was worse when I would eat worse. And I was like, that doesn't have anything to do with it. Like, I'm just growing up. Like, whatever.
Whataburger.
Okay. All right. I would like to formally say I never had Whataburger ever. So. Never.
Okay, so what happened when you kind of got off track? Like you did it, you got good results, and then what happened after that?
Well, Corona happened.
It's true, good point, right?
I was very like.
It's your senior year.
Yes, yeah. I was working out all the time and like eating good and like I was trying to stay on track like even after our bet had finished for January. And then, everything went to crap with quarantine and everything. Everything shut down and I just was like, whatever, I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it. And then I just like
Anybody else have that? Whatever, I'm not going to do it, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so hi, I'm Zoe,
Hey,
right.
hey guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Even
so
the doctor's kid, so don't worry. Yeah.
And so this year we went on our Christmas holiday together. And what happened at the Christmas holiday?
We set some goals. I definitely would recommend setting some goals for your year, especially 2021 with how everything fell apart 2020, no matter what. And I just made more of a commitment to not just betting and stuff. It was more for me.
Yeah, there's no bet this time.
No bet. There's a competition. There is a competition.
There's always a competition.
But I just wanted to make it more of like a lifestyle change versus a like I have goals obviously, but I wanted to make more of a like consistent thing throughout the year so I can stick to it rather than falling apart like 2020.
And you're 30 days-ish, right? 30 days into this, and what did you notice? What changed immediately as soon as you started
My
to
skin.
press in? So, boom, skin. Anybody
Yeah.
else have skin issues? You want to know?
It's awful.
Okay, there you go.
But and then I just started working out more. It is harder being in college, I will say. I know y'all don't really have that problem, but I do, and because all the food is awful.
But I mean, this is good. This is good for these guys too because they go into their work every day, and people are bringing crap cookies and donuts and stuff, right? So you're just experiencing it in school, but they're experiencing it every day at work. So it's good. So what do you do?
Donut days are the worst, I will say.
Donut days are the worst.
They're the worst.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
Anyway, round of applause for Zoe.
Yes.
This is real. Right? And my next lovely testimony is this beautiful, amazing, incredible young woman. Come up here. Okay, so does anybody recognize Jennifer? Anybody recognize her? Okay, so she gave her testimony last time. Okay. In fact, this was Jennifer at the last makeover. How many makeovers have you been to?
2 or 3.
Is this your third one? I
Yeah.
think this is your third one. Okay. So this is someone who started and has gone to 3 makeovers. This is why we keep doing makeovers, right? And who brought you to the office? Who told you to come?
My mother-in-law, her mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. This
Kathleen.
is an awesome, wave your hand, mother-in-law, awesome. So someone loved her enough to tell her to come in, right? Okay, now this is her at the makeover that was just a few months ago, 3-4 months ago, okay? So we're at 65 pounds, increased energy, and then this is her now. Did anybody see what just happened on the screen? How much weight have you lost?
95 pounds.
Guys, this is a human.
Yeah.
She lost the weight of a human, right? And what's happened to your family? Tell them what's happened to your family since you have, what's happened to you? What kind of a mom do you feel? How does that change for you?
So before, I was tired. I didn't want to do anything. I totally didn't ever want to go to the pools with the kids. I sent my husband because nobody wants to see that, right? And I sure don't want people to see me feeling all like, So since then, since all this weight loss, we've gone to the pool. I've been more involved with my kids. Like we play, we have a good old time, and I just feel like I'm more present. I'm more. I don't know, I'm having more fun because I feel so much better about myself. I have so much more energy. I have so much more clarity of thought, just not like down in the dumps and stressed and anxious about what I look like. I feel so much better, and I'm able to live that so much better now.
Round of applause for Jennifer.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. It's awesome. Guys, this is why we keep doing makeovers. This is why you keep coming. It's kind of like going to church, right? You go to church and you think you know that scripture and you've looked it up before, but man, the Lord will give you downloads every week, and give you new revelation, and also sometimes kick you in the pants to kind of apply it. Like instead of like learning it, like let's try to apply it, right? So super, super exciting. Now, how many of you guys recognize this? Who has never seen this movie? I just need you to raise your hand. Okay. So keep your hand up. I'm giving you some homework. And remember your little journal that you have in front of you, okay? The homework that you have for this weekend is to watch the movie, what? Everybody tell them? Matrix. You need to watch The Matrix. Here's the crux of it, guys. What you're looking at right here is a metaphor for what we've been living in this past year, a little more than a year, right? Around a year, right? This is a metaphor, okay? So the blue pill, what the blue pill represents is it represents the person who keeps their head in the sand. Yeah? Right? There's not one blue-pilled person in this room. I'm just going to let you know that. Because if you're in this room, you bought a ticket because your doctor is super-duper red-pilled, and he's been red-pilling you, and so is his team. Right? So the blue pill, or some of us are like kind of like the pill, like you've taken it and you're like, I don't know if I really want to open my eyes. Well, here's the thing. The metaphor for that red pill is my eyes are open, my ears are open, my heart is open, and there's a whole lot of things going on around me that I was totally unaware of, right? Yes? Amen? A whole lot of things around you that you were totally unaware of. And so our goal, that's why we take you on shopping tours. We take you to the grocery store so that we can show you, red pill you, what's on the dang label. Quit looking at the front side of it that looks really pretty in the package and look what's on the back side, right? We are all needing to learn to together, be in this together to dig, right? So this whole red pill, so whenever you're on social media and you see them using the term red pill, this is what they're talking about, red pill. We're talking about red pill as far as your health and healthcare. But the term really is a metaphor for opening your eyes, your ears, and your heart to what's really going on, what's really going on, okay? And so that's what we really want to do today with you guys. And here's the thing. We want to get out of the matrix. So when you watch the movie, you're gonna learn like they're plugging themselves into this machine, this matrix, right? And so what we want to do today is help you exit the matrix and really begin to live. And our healthcare delivery system is called the 5 Essentials, okay? It's 5 essentials. And all 5 of these essentials that we're unpacking today, nerve system is one of them. Like you can't function for 1 second without a nerve system, right? In fact, these 5 essentials are just like a plant. Think about it. Your plants, you would never take them and put a mask on them and stick them in a dark closet, right? You wouldn't do that. What do plants need? They need 3 things. They need sunlight, right? They need what else? Soil, and they need water, right? You are just like that plant. If you take those 3 essential things away from a plant, the plant will do what? Die, right? We are exactly the same way. And so we have to have a nerve supply. We have to have proper nutrition. That's what Rebecca was talking about. She might have been eating kind of okay, but the testing that we talk about, which I'll dig into a little bit later, told her exactly what she should be eating. And that's why she was able to have 2 miracle babies, right? Mindset, stress, sleep. Stress, a lot of us, we've got to be aware, like we have a tiger in our bedroom or a tiger in the office now. A tiger, like your tiger is your cubicle next to you. Like you got to recognize, what is the tiger? Identify what that tiger is and get it out of your life, right? That's max mind. The 4th one, oxygen and exercise. Guys, it doesn't really matter if you don't feel like it. This is probably the one I've never really felt like doing. But it doesn't make it any less essential. You have to have oxygen. You can't live, you can live 4 minutes maybe? Some of us that hold our breath 4 minutes without oxygen. So we can't live without oxygen. We're going to walk you through how to get that, how to get more of it. And then minimizing toxins. I'll spend the second half of today unpacking where we're getting all these toxins from, okay? but this is our healthcare delivery system. This is what we're trying to impart to you. This is our red pill metaphor, if you will. Okay? The top 20 unhealthy foods, some of you, that is your barrier. So when you go back and you think about your action steps, this might be the thing that you've got to do number one first, is going and looking in your pantry and looking in your refrigerator and finding the top 20 unhealthy foods. So we're talking about the sugary drinks, right? That's on the top of the list, right? Unhealthy pizzas, white bread. I know you guys want to take pictures of that. White bread, right? The juices, the vegetable oils, the margarine. They had the little experiment with the margarine where the ants we had margarine, I can't believe it's not butter, and butter. And the ants we put it out, and the ants actually only went to the butter. They didn't want the other stuff. Well, that's just natural. That's natural laws. They're not going to go towards stuff that's not natural, right? Neither should we. Pastries, cookies, cakes, French fries, potato chips, gluten-free, that just irritates me. The whole word gluten-free, it really is irritating because all it just means is permission to eat sugar. If you are gluten-free, just stop eating grain. That's going to be your best call, right? Agave nectar, agave nectar, low-fat yogurt just means high sugar, low-fat junk foods, ice cream, candy bars, processed meat, processed cheese. Do you guys see the thing with the cheese, the video that we have of the cheese? We had like a piece of cheese and we lit the cheese with one of the blowtorches and it just didn't do anything, right? High calorie coffee drinks. Guys, if this is your issue and money is the issue, why? Budget. Like you're like, I just can't do it. If you just find a couple things on this list and one of them might be the high calorie coffee drink, if you are drinking one of those a day, $5 a day, I don't even know, are they $5? 5 times 7, they're more than that. Let's just say 5, I'm probably lowballing it. But that's 35 a week, which is 140 a month. Right there, you could just take that 140 and you can buy your good foods with that. And yes, I'm going to tell you, it's going to cost you more to eat healthy. Yep, absolutely. It doesn't make a dang bit of sense. I'm in agreement with you on that one. But it's going to cost you more to be healthy. But here's the thing. It's a choice. Remember, red pill, blue pill. It's a choice. You are going to pay now because you've chosen to eat healthy, or you will pay later when you have no choice and now you've got a disease. So you can have the choice now to pay to invest in your health now, or you're going to pay later, okay? One way or the other, you're going to. Processed and packaged foods, refined grains, and genetically modified organisms. So this is going to be one of your barriers, one of the biggest ones. Now this slide, I'm just going to say it pisses me off. Can I just say it? Anybody else offended by that? I hate this slide. You know why? Because this represents something that is really in a lot of our control, and it's one of the number one comorbidities to cancer. Can you guys believe that? The number one comorbidity to cancer. We are literally from 2017 to 2018, we are 42.2% obese. We were only 26% obese in 2008. So when you think about that, 10 years, we almost went 20% in increase in obesity. So what we've been told over the last 10 years has been a total lie, yes? That's why we have to be all red-pilled, not be blue-pilled, right? We've got to rip off the scales and the things that we're being, fed to, the lies that we're being fed to. Because here's the thing, if we don't make changes in this area, 10 more years from now, we're going to be sitting at 66% obesity. And we just said that increases our chances of, cancer. So this is right in our control. So one of the things we're going to talk to you guys about a challenge that we're going to do here in a little bit. But one of the things I want to challenge you guys to is take a measurement right at your belly button. Make that be one of because we measure what matters. And if this matters to you, that you don't end up a statistic, you'll measure what matters. Measure right around the belly button. Put that number up and let it make you mad. Okay? Let it make you mad. Let it make you mad and move at the same time, right? Take action in your life. So I don't like those statistics. This one, like I said, this one makes me the most mad, this slide. Anybody else feel that way? Like I just had my husband's like, I put that in there just to make you mad. I'm like, good job, babe. The effect of obesity on the body. What we're finding is that this obesity is causing the type 2 diabetes, it's causing the heart disease, it's causing all these different diseases. And what we also found, research shows that if we go up one pant size over the course of 10 years, it increases our chance of breast cancer by 33%. If we go up 2 pant sizes in 10 years, it increases us by 77%. We used to kind of like poo-poo that, didn't we? But when we start recognizing that this is devastating to our health, and it's actually, again, it's going to be the thing that costs us more money later because now we got to deal with a health crisis, right? So take these tools in, take all this stuff very seriously because this effect on the body is devastating. In fact, I'll just say this. This is the biggest lie right here that we've been told. This is the biggest lie. This is how we ended up getting the stats on obesity. What the conventional nutrition recommendation said is 40 to 65% of carbohydrates at each meal and allowing more for snacks. Low-fat diet, which just means high sugar, and there was never a recommendation ever to reverse. So Dr. Sarah Hallberg says diabetes is a state of carbohydrate toxicity. Again, we're creating it for ourselves. In fact, it's creating so much devastation in homes, it's also creating massive big business, right? Big business. You look everywhere and it's shocking the number of doctor's appointments for eye doctors now because now you can't see because of all the sugar, right? So we're creating vision problems. Foot doctor appointments because now we have all these foot sores, right? Open wounds, foot sores, right? We're creating a lot of business for kidney doctors because now everybody's kidneys are shutting down. Heart doctors, man, every other visit that they have, the people that come in there, it's because they have diabetes, right? So it's just making a lot more business. We're creating entire aisles full of products, and big pharma, we're just filling up with all kinds of drugs that they can feed to us. So if you think about the products here, who knows this product, right? This product right here is such a stinking lie. Such a stinking lie. This product is full of chemicals, artificial sweeteners, food additives, GMO corn. There's not one thing in this product that's actually helping people to heal. So this is one of those things, water. You probably don't want the water they put in there though, right?
Tap water.
So here's the thing. We need to understand that this big business is not something we want to contribute in, right? This is where we red pill, blue pill, right? We want to get rid of the blue pill. We all want to be red pilled on this particular issue, understanding that if we keep doing what they're telling us, then we're going to keep getting what everybody else is getting. And we want to be that example. This place right here, right now, I don't know if you guys know this, but you just enlisted in an army. This place right here has become the army. And here's the thing. You got to do it for you, and you got to pull someone else along with you and red pill them too and help them too. It's got to be up to us. We are in this together, right? Herbs can't do it all. We're going to have to, each one of you are in the army. We all have to do this piece together. So when we eat this sugar and when we do this and we live this whole diabetic lifestyle, the big business, what we're doing is we're trashing our hormones. And hormones are the key to being able to lose weight. Okay? So if you're having a struggle with losing weight, it's because we've done the other stuff for so long that we've trashed our hormones. And the big hormones we want to understand, insulin is your fat hormone. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. Leptin is your I'm full hormone. So those hormones, we want those hormones in check. We want them to be doing the right thing, right? We want them to process things and tell our brain and our body to do exactly what it should do. Cortisol, this hormone breaks down muscle, stimulates fat storage. This is why we want to get the dang tiger out of our room, right? It causes us to be more hungry and intense cravings. Okay, and where does that fat like to hang out? Right around the middle, right? Human growth hormone. Production decreases with age. I'm like, I'm done with that one, right? I'm about to turn 50. I'm like, I'm going to have to ramp it up, right? This is why we have to, what? Turn up the what? So if you're in my age bracket or older, then we've got to turn up the intensity because our growth hormone naturally wants to go away. But if we increase our lean muscle mass, human growth hormone increases. We increase our bone density. We all want that, right? And we also decrease our body fat. So it's a win-win situation. The last one on there is estrogen. Everybody say xenoestrogen. Xenoestrogen. When we increase, it makes more fat. So these xenoestrogens that mimic, they're chemicals that we are exposed to, they mimic estrogen. So we're exposed to all these xenoestrogens, and all it's doing is making us fatter. That's why this whole second portion of today, we get into toxins. We have to be really aware of all the toxins that we're exposed to, because this is the kind of stuff that is being damaged and causing us to actually carry more weight and be fatter. Now, this picture right here, it's actually, I just want to kind of walk you through this picture right here. This picture actually represents to me the best example I can give you is like the noisy neighbor, okay? So if you guys ever had a noisy neighbor in an apartment, or maybe you were in college, you had a noisy neighbor. When you first get that noisy neighbor, at first the neighbor really bothers you, yeah? Maybe you live near a train track or something like that. So the noise at first really bothers you. But give yourself a couple weeks to a month. Pretty soon, what happens? You just said it, Tony. You get used to it. So what happens is sugar does this to our hormones. After we pummel ourselves and we binge, because 2020 was all about that, we're all home all day, right? After we've done that in 2020, pretty soon we can't even hear the hormones that are telling us, hey, you're full, stop, right? Or use that for energy, or stop eating, or now you're hungry. Like, we can't even hear those hormones anymore because it's like the noisy neighbor. We've trashed them. We've inundated ourselves with so much sugar that we become insulin resistant. And we also, you guys have heard that term, right? We also become leptin resistant. So when you become leptin resistant, your brain can't hear leptin and it won't burn fat for energy. So it just becomes this horrible loop that we're in, and we trash our hormones this way. So I'm going to walk through a couple different plans. Now, guess I'm going to give you a couple different eating plans that we teach about in our office. The reason why you might do one or the other, it would be determined based upon some certain symptoms that you might have, or certain issues or health challenges you have going on, okay? So we teach about two different eating plans. One's called the core plan and one's called the advanced plan. In this book right here are recipes. Everything that you have today in your goodie bag, and I think probably most everything in there is going to be advanced plan, yes? Okay. So if you like what you had today, like the things that you have today, you would look through the advanced plan recipes. And maybe you don't like it and you're like, it's not sweet enough. And this is the process I'm going to walk you through, how to help your taste buds change and your hormones reset and that kind of stuff. How did you guys like your green juice?
It's good.
Is the green juice good? Has anybody tried anything else in your bag? Like a cookie. Have you tried the cookie? Who's tried the cookie? What you're going to learn is you can actually have, like the brownies, you can actually have those for breakfast. Those brownies are made with our protein powder. Here, the grass-fed and finished protein powder. What you're going to learn is you can actually have that kind of stuff for breakfast because it's filling. It's got a lot of good nutrients, a lot of good fats, a lot of good proteins and things like that. Okay, so we're going to go through the core and advanced plan. The key with the core and advanced plan, understand that the core plan, I think some people kind of, that know these different plans, you kind of have this a little wrong. Brent and I were talking about this. How sometimes people think core plan means, oh, I can have sugar now. This is awesome. That's not what it means, okay? It means that you can have all of God's food, right? And we're not restricting any of them. And when you do have grains, you're going to have them in moderation, and you're going to have more ancient grains. Who knows what an ancient grain is? Let me just say one thing out loud. Is white bread ancient grain? No. Okay. Is a donut ancient grain? No. Is the bagel shop right down the street ancient grain? All right. Well, maybe unless you choose one that's made with what kind of ancient grains? Wendy, give me one. Quinoa. Okay. So quinoa. What's another one? How do I say it? F-A-R-O. Okay, farro. What about buckwheat? Spelt. What about spelt? What about rye? Barley? What do you notice when you eat these things? What do you notice? You're more full. You're more full because they have a lot of fiber, right? You're more full. What do you notice when you eat white bread? How many sandwiches could you eat? I mean, let's be serious, right? How many sandwiches could you eat? You could eat, right? So that's the difference. So when you're talking about ancient grains, core and advanced plan, okay? Brenda, do me a favor. Will you type up right up here? I want the phone number and the key phrase for them to get the recipes for these things. The brownie, they'll put the phone number and the key phrases. I'm going to give you the recipe for the cookie. You guys like that? I'll give you the recipe for the brownie. And I'm going to give you the recipe for the fat bombs, which you'll get at lunchtime. Who likes fat bombs? They're awesome. Okay. So what you'll do is you can just text the word to our phone number, and the recipe will come to you if this is something you know that you want. Okay? Are you guys getting hungry? Yes. Okay, good. All right, next one is advanced plan. So hang with me. We're chucking along. Are you guys doing okay? Yep. Okay. Advanced plan means what? What's the first thing on the list? No grains. Okay. No grains. Many healthy fats. No damaged fats. Naturally raised animal proteins. Only low sugar fruits and berries. What are the berries and what are the fruits? I will repeat it, I promise. I just want to hear them say it. Okay, so it's Granny Smith apple, the one that's really tart. Yikes, it's a little tart, right? That's a lower glycemic fruit. It's all berries, not cherries. I say that because that's my favorite. When I'm on core plan, I have cherries. All berries, grapefruit, and Granny Smith apples. Those are your limited fruits that you have. Why? Because they're low in sugar. Okay, so you do this for a season. This advanced plan is for a season. Now, a lot of you actually probably didn't know this, but we actually have a study out that shows how type 2 diabetes, along with chiropractic, reversed with the advanced plan. So if this is something that you have a loved one that is not here today, then guess what? You are part of the what? The army. And so you tell your loved one and you equip them with what they need. The chiropractic, this was an article on chiropractic and the advanced plan reducing type 2 diabetes. Now, I just want to show you a couple differences. Are we doing good? I want to show you a couple differences on this keto, because a lot of people know a lot about keto, right? We hear about it, it kind of went a little bit crazy. It became a bit of a fad, right? And really, there's not a lot of difference between advanced plan and keto. But here's the thing. You can do keto and do it dirty. I'm seeing some heads shaking. You can do keto and do it dirty. Nobody wants to go into their coffin lighter, right? So that's what you'll do if you do keto dirty. If you follow advanced plan, you can be in I'll teach you about ketosis, but you'll do it a clean way. There's just a really small difference. The difference is 5% more fat on the keto and less carbs on the keto. So you're just taking 5% from your carbs and you're putting it into your fat. That's the only difference. Okay, so it's high fat. Both of them are high fat, moderate, middle of the way protein, and very low what? Carbs. So you see how the 40 to 65 grams per meal was such a lie for all of us? So this is the piece, the keto versus advanced. Now I want to just show you what ketosis means. You've heard the term ketosis, yes? So ketosis just means that you took all that fat that you consumed and you made a fuel out of it. So if you eat a lot of carbs, you make glucose, right? If you eat a lot of fat, you make ketones. Your body likes both of them and your brain really loves ketones, okay? So if you eat that high-fat diet, then now you're making a source of fuel called ketones, and your body will actually go through a process of healing, lots of benefits from it. Extends longevity, so we can heal following the advanced plan, going into ketosis, doing it clean, and actually preserve our motor function. Memory loves it. Your brain loves ketones, by the way. Muscle mass, reduce midlife mortality, and avoid and reverse obesity. One of the most powerful tools that you can use to actually do that. So these are the motivations. Now, what we want to try to do is become metabolically flexible. I need everybody to say metabolic flexibility. We want to become, that's a goal, to become metabolically flexible. What does that mean? Super simple. It means that you don't want to eat your arm off and have sugar cravings so bad that you just could eat like someone, right? That's what it means. Who's been there, right? You're so cranky, you want to eat something that or someone, you're going to bite their head off, right? You go to bed and you're mad, right? You're not metabolically flexible when you're like that. So you're not having cravings when you follow this plan. And one of the best things that you can do to flip the switch, because what we want to do today is figure out, how do I get there, right? For some of you, it might feel like a really long, more than 6 feet apart, it might be a long distance, right? I promise you, if you're slow and steady, pretty soon what will happen is if you win enough days, you win a week, right? And if you win enough weeks, you win a month. And if you win enough months, pretty soon you win a year, and you got Jennifer Keller. You are the next one, right? Or you're the Rebecca Googler, right? Pretty soon, that's what happens to you. And so we just have to slow and steady actually walk through this. One of the most powerful things that you could implement in this process is to learn what we call how to fast. Now, I'm going to unpack intermittent fasting a little bit more detail today. IF is the term, IF. Okay, good. Thank you, Brenna. IF is the term for intermittent fasting. So if I say IF, everybody say intermittent. Fasting. Okay. Couple different forms of fasting. I want you to know that this is a centurion. What does that mean? He's over 100. Look at the muscle mass in his shoulder. You guys see that? His pectoralis. Like, he's got good muscle. And what happens when you do this type of thing, the intermittent fasting, or the types of fasting, and you eat the types of foods that we're talking about, is you actually get leaner as you get older, and you get more muscle as you get older. Your eyesight, there's no glasses on him. Your eyesight's clear, right? This is the benefits from this. Feast, famine cycling. Food was never readily available, right? We didn't just go open the refrigerator and I remember growing up, we always hunt and fish. I'm from Michigan. And so we would fill our freezer up with meat. And the same thing with fishing was hard. It was ice fishing. It was so much work. And so all that work, and then I had to learn how to, you had to learn how to fish, and you got the ice thing, and what is that little spiral thing that goes down? It was just a whole lot of work and very cold. But if we didn't do that, we weren't going to eat. That was legit. And then you go home and you learn how to clean the fish, right? And that's a whole other process, like learning how to gut the fish and like that. And you got to clean it up. And then you freeze it all. And you eat some that day. That process took an entire day for us to get food. And so that's the feast-famine cycling. Recognizing that food wasn't readily available, you actually went the whole day to prepare a meal. You actually went out and killed something, and then you let the blood drip out, and then, right, you went through the whole process of preparing the meal. That's the feast-famine cycling. We will not die, y'all, without food, I promise. We're not going to. Intermittent fasting, I'll go through this pattern here in a second in a little more detail. Keto fasting is another fast. OMAD, that's 1 meal a day. It's a good practice to just pick one day a week, maybe a Sunday, and just go 1 meal today. I'm fasting. It's a really good practice to get in the habit of. Now, if you're going to have 1 meal a day, it might be good to have what in the meal? A whole lot of what? A whole lot of fat, right? So that you're actually getting all the good nutrients in there and you're actually getting the ketones so you can actually live off that. Juice fasting, we have a green juice recipe in here. It's another very good practical thing to do, to pick regularly to do a juice fast. You can do a 1-day juice fast or you can do a 10-day juice fast or something in between there. I highly recommend it. Give your digestive system a break, let all the nutrients be absorbed into your cells, and let yourself be a little hungry. It's okay. Same thing with water fasting. This one is not as successful. I know a lot of people talk about it, but they're not necessarily usually as successful. A lot of people are doing a Daniel fast right now. We're in the middle of Daniel fast season, right? So fasting is biblical and very powerful and one of the best things that you can do actually to get yourself in a healthy state. Now, I don't like this clicker at all. I want to throw it. Okay, 16-8 is a method of intermittent fasting, okay? What does that mean? 8 hours you'll be eating, and 16 hours you'll be what? Fasting. So during that 8-hour time frame, it's actually one thing I want to say, that intermittent fasting is not a diet, okay? It's really a pattern of eating. So don't walk away going, oh, I'm on a diet. Nope, it's just a pattern of how you eat. You're eating more like they did, right, ancient times, more in sort of a smaller window, okay? Feast, famine kind of cycling. And so what you want to do is you want to pick your window. You might write on your workbook, what would be a good window for you that's 8 hours? A very popular window is like 11 to 7. And the reason why I say 7 is because you don't want to eat 3 hours before bed. So if you know your bedtime is at 11, you can back yourself up and do 8 is the latest time, right? Pick your window. Don't eat 3 hours before bed. Pick that window there, and then you break your fast, and you can have, during the time frame when you're fasting, you can have coffee as long as there's no butter or cream in it, because that will break your fast. So if you wake up first thing in the morning, you're like, you really have to have your coffee, then you're going to have to learn how to like it without butter or cream. Or stevia, would you say? You can have stevia in it. Yep, you can. So you can have your coffee. Unless you start your fast, you break your fast early. It's not practical for most people, but Dr. David and I do our fast from 7 until 1 every day. That is not a practical thing for most people. Most people will eat dinner, and then they kind of back up that window from when their dinner time is, and then they add 8 hours. That's kind of where they do it. But that's our choice, and that's what's worked really well for us because we're up at 4 in the morning. And so that's when we work out and hit it pretty hard in the morning, and then we just don't want to be eating later in the day. So you just pick your window. Again, the most common one I think ends up being like 11 to 7. That's the most common one. So you just got to find a window. You might write that down for yourself. And then again, paying attention to the percentages. So keto advanced plan, and if you add the exercise, the HIIT type of exercise in there, you're actually going to hit it pretty hard. You're actually going to hit your benefits pretty hard by adding exercise into that. Okay, just a little reminder. Why would you eat just before bed? Where are the cravings, right? So when you eat just before bed, what happens when you sleep? This is really, really important. You can probably eliminate a lot of your symptoms if you just stopped eating 3 hours before bed. When you go to sleep, your nerve system speeds up. That's when your nerve system heals. That's your master system. That's the system that controls and coordinates and functions, tells every bit of your body what to do. You want to let it do its thing, right? While you're sleeping at night, let it heal. But when you put food in your mouth just before you go to bed, you're actually telling the blood it needs to be here. And now it's got to work on the digestion process, and it's taken away from your nerve system. You guys with me on that? So your nerve system is going to tell your hormones what to do. Like, this is how we're going to end up having obesity, being sugar, insulin resistant. You want to make sure 3 hours before bed is a minimum, okay, that you. And if you're going to bed and you want to eat someone's arm off, you're so hungry, then you're still sugar. You're still a sugar burner. You're not metabolically flexible yet. You will get there. Remember, you win enough days, you win a week, right? You win enough weeks, you win a month. You will get there. You just have to keep plugging away. Now, indications you might need a challenge or a test or something else. I'm gonna go into the challenge right now. So some of you actually might want to do this. It's not going to be for everybody. We don't have enough space for everybody to do it anyway. But some of you might want to plug into doing a challenge, right? And so some of you actually might need to do some testing, like metabolics testing, like Rebecca talked about. If you have indications of a diagnosis of some kind, then that is, and let's say you don't have a lot of support at home. Maybe you don't have, maybe you're feeling like anyone around you, you really don't have a lot of support, then you really want to do what? You want to invest the time, right? And plug in to do a challenge. And so I'm going to have Summer and Paige and Brenna come up to the stage here. You can grab them, bring them up. But if you have any of these things going on, so if you are one of those people that has high triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, low blood sugar, come on up. If you have any of those things, then you're going to want to do what? Invest the time, work a system, turn up the intensity, problem solve along the way. You've got to do something different, right? And so high insulin, come over here, you guys. High insulin, high leptin, toxicity, obesity, allergies, arthritis. If you have any of those diagnoses, you're experiencing those symptoms, you're going to want to turn up the intensity. If you know you already have a plan, let's say I've already given you a plan and you just haven't really followed it, or maybe you did a consult with Brenna and she already gave you a plan, then you just might want to pick that plan up and start working that plan, okay? Some of you already kind of have a plan. You just need to work it, invest the what? Turn up the what? And problem solve along the way. Like some of you already have that. I want to make sure that no one gets left behind. So if you have that, do that. If you need support and you want connection, community, and commitment, then sign up for the challenge. These are the people that are going to coach you through that, okay? Through the challenge. So what this challenge looks like, and this is the test, but let me show the test and then we'll get into the challenge here in just a second. So if it's maybe you're like, I just really have these diagnoses, but I just need someone to tell me specifically what I need to eat. And maybe you need a whole lot more of some stuff that you don't know you need. That's why we do the metabolics. I mean, that's why Rebecca did the test, and that's why so many of our patients who have had a hard time with certain diagnoses or things like that, they do that test because they want to heal, and they want to get there and quit guessing and quit wasting time. And so that's why we do the metabolics testing. It's a blood and urine test, and you take the test home. And when you take the test, it's super simple. You take a sample of your urine and a sample of your own blood, just a finger prick. And so you send those results in, and then we get those test results back, and we can interpret them for you and tell you, hey, you need to not eat these foods. This is what you need to eat. This is a vitamin and only these vitamins you need. This is a fatty acid you need. Like we can tell you specifically, and the test will tell me if you're a cancer risk, if you're a heart disease risk, if you're an autoimmune disease risk, if you have leaky gut or, maybe C. diff or, candida or something like that, it'll tell me all those things. Anxiety, I can see why the anxiety and the focus and the attention issues, it'll tell me all that, okay? So this is one of the reasons why we test. But I want to get into the challenge here. I had these amazing women right here. They put together, this was their idea. They wanted to put something together for the folks who are sitting at home, lonely, have no support, no one around them to connect with. I mean, doesn't it break your heart to know that there are people that went without a hug? Like, I can't stand that. And so it's, right? That's right. And so these guys put together, collectively right here, what you're seeing is a master's degree in exercise and kinesiology. Like, you've got some major people right here that know how to do stuff like that. And so what we're going to do for people who want to be a part of the challenge, you can do a challenge and not sign up for all the coaching and accountability and connection. You can do that. But this is what's also offered. They're going to be in the front, next to in the front desk in the room that's off to the side, and registration will be up there. So they'll be registering a few people that want to actually be able to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to start February 1st, which is Monday, and we're going to end with a 5K run walk. And we're all going to wear our shirts, and you can bring whoever you want. It's going to be a fun party for all of us. And so we're going to end in that. So we're going to work toward those goals. We're going to work that system, invest the time, turn up the intensity. Some of us, it'll be a big commitment, right? Being able to do a 5K run walk, doing it together. So we're going to end at the end of March. The 27th, I think, is the date, March 27th. And we're going to do a run walk together. And so along the way, what you're going to get, and signing up, so it's $1 a day to be able to do it. So what you're going to get is their coaching. You're going to meet at the office for regular weigh-ins and regular check-ins. You're going to get an accountability group. You're going to get a team that you're a part of. And there's a whole lot of other stuff. These guys have that figured.
Ways to win more.
Oh, ways to win more. Okay, and then you're going to win a lot of stuff too. So they're going to kind of keep engaged and have a lot of fun together. These guys have put together. Round of applause for these guys, actually. These guys, and they're giving everybody a calendar with a theme each week. It's just cool. And like a private group, you're all going to get together. It's really awesome. I'm excited for these guys. So one of the things I want to hit on for the challenge, now whether you do the challenge with them, okay, or you just do it on your own with your spouse, that's fine. It doesn't matter, just as long as we do this, we work something, we increase the intensity. What you'll do is for 45 days, you're going to follow Monday through Friday the advanced plan and do intermittent fasting. And Saturday and Sunday, you're going to do what? Core plan. So now here's the caveat. Those of you who already have a plan that I've given you doesn't mean you can do core plan. I'm watching you. If I told you you had to do core advanced plan 7 days a week, you have to do advanced plan 7 days a week. But for the rest of you, I'm watching you. Saturday and Sunday core plan, okay? So this is part of the 45-day challenge. It's really meant to be a lifestyle, right? You're going to come into the office. We're going to all try food together. It's going to be fun, like if you decide to go with these guys. If you want to do it on your own, post in Herb Family Friends the things that you're doing. Let's just get this whole group rallied up and really recruit some other people into the army, right? Into this army. Principle-based nutrition, good? We're good? Principle-based nutrition. So I really want you guys to just think about this, okay? Super, super important. I really want you to think about this. Principle-based nutrition really means, if you think about it, these centurion cultures like Okinawa and different parts of Italy, these cultures that actually lived past 100, the things they had in common, they didn't eat all the same food. Some of them only had salmon readily available, and others had a lot of nuts and seeds readily available. They didn't eat the same food, but what they did was they had these 3 things in common. They actually ate no processed food. Now, this might be the biggest barrier, right? But if you write down no processed food, this becomes something where you start to realize, how do I prepare? What classes do I need to take? Who do I plug into? What do I need to do to be able to do this and take it to the next level? Life-giving nutrients, and then food by God, not food by man, right? That's really the 3 things these cultures that live past 100 have in common. I find that super fascinating. Honestly, if we can just keep that in mind, it's going to take all of this to the next level, our health and everything to the next level. Measure what matters. So with our challenge, you're going to be measured. You'll have regular check-ins. You're going to have a pre and post Tanita. But if you're not doing this, then find some measurements. And where did I say to make sure you measure? Belly. So if you're doing this with someone that you love, make sure you pick a few measurements. The 3 that I think are the best, right around the chest, same spot every time. Belly button is a prerequisite, right? And then the widest part of your hips. If you just did 3 measurements, get yourself a measuring tape. Those are the best 3 measurements that you can do. And what's the number 1? Belly, right? Best one. Measure what matters.
So first of all, thanks to John, I just found out that the social distancing guidelines in Cancun are only 5 feet, so we're officially moving our offices to Cancun. So thank you, John. I think it's an actual real thing. Woo! Yeah! All right. Yeah, you're going back to college, son. Sorry. This next part. So how do we really get up on top of this with some things that most people think are secrets? And this is obviously my favorite part. So if you're going to have a new year, You're going to have to get yourself into a position to continually be new. Does that make sense? Not like I got this change on the 30th of January. It was pretty cool, and I wrote it out. No. Continually new, right? So here's the thing. If you look at how, if you take, there's scientific studies where you take two people, exactly the same situations going on in their life, and you have them have the same experience. Two people can have a completely different perspective on the same experience. Is that true? And what you find is those two people that have a completely different experience generally have something going on internal that drives them to look for negativity or look for positivity. You know, you have some people that are like my parents said when I was a kid that I was the most joyful kid that they'd ever seen. My dad had a saying that he would tell friends. He said, David, you could literally put him in a room filled with horse poop and he would smile and dig in it all day knowing that there's got to be a pony in there somewhere. And so, but then you have some people, it's like you give them $100 cash, you're like, I really needed $300. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. It's like, so my point is, what is the difference? First of all, you have more value to you than the vehicle that you're driving. For instance, you know, if you were in an auto accident today and it totaled your car, people would say, well, but are you what?
Okay.
Are you okay? So the vehicle you're in is awesome, but the person inside the vehicle is more important. Can I get an amen somewhere? The same analogy can be held true with your body. However, although the value is the person inside the vehicle, you're not going to get very far if your car is not very structurally sound. Is that true? Like and that's why we take care of our cars. The other day I was driving to church and something like jumped up in the road and chopped off part of my tire. And so I was like, I barely got it to a station, and it was like almost $400 for one tire. And I'm like, yeah, so glass half empty all of a sudden. So, but the point is, that vehicle needed a new tire. I'm not getting very far. Your body's the same way, but what you don't realize sometimes is that structure equals function, but not just function of your expression of how your emotions go as well. Now, what does that mean? It means that in 1986, Roger Sperry said that the brain is a battery and it's kept charged by how the body is moving. So movement of the body charges the brain. He said your relativity of the quality of your emotions, the expression of the outlook of how you see life is literally connected to how well the body is charging the battery, right? So what is the most effective thing for depression and anxiety? Say it. Exercise, which is over and over. The problem with it is most people don't realize that structure truly does equal function, which is why people who are having anxiety and depression, 9 out of 10 of them find solutions in the rooms right there as they get adjusted. Why is that? Because there's one system that controls how you actually see it. And I'm telling you, a new you truly does begin here, because the inside of you, the vehicle your spirit's riding in, is completely and severely and wonderfully and fearfully complex. Everybody say complex. So by the way, this is just one small little tidbit of how the inside of your body works. And you see nothing about the amounts of those chemicals, but as one changes, the other changes, and it makes a waveform of complexity to meet the needs of every single cell in your body all the time. And that's in the side of only one part of the cells in there. Did you get that? Right? And there's only one thing on the face of planet Earth that could actually make that many decisions that every second of every day inside your body, and that is your brain and nervous system. So for you to have an outlook of positivity and be able to still pivot and not feel completely exhausted, you have to make sure that one system's working great, and that is to balance the nerve system. And again, patients in the office, and most of you guys are patients. This is the time, you like, maybe there's a time coming up where I have to be really, guess what? This is the time. The reason that this is the time is because going forward in 2021, you're going to have to make a decision that you're going to keep a balanced nerve supply as much as you possibly can. That doesn't mean you have to live here, although please come. But it means that you need to be thinking about it and have that as a priority in your life. Raise your hand. I'm going to raise mine first. Raise your hand if you could do a better job with your home rehab. Hi, my name is David. So, and everybody else is on the same page. It's a support group. Now, here's the thing, though. Moving forward, you guys that are patients, Every single time that you do home rehab, you're clearing the interference and balancing your nerve supply. The problem with it is most of us don't think that we have an issue with our nerve supply unless we what? Unless we feel it. So fact checking number one, a priority. If I feel good, I'm healthy or my nervous system is balanced. Absolutely 100% false. Again, my story, here I was, an all-district athlete, broke all the state records. The first symptom, no decreased range of motion, no neck pain, no symptoms at all. The first symptom was my heart rate going to 240 beats a minute and stopping for 2 seconds at a time, and I almost died. Nervous system is so amazing that balancing that by the time that you actually have an expression that you feel, you're pretty much so far. In fact, actually, the research shows that you have to lose 40% function before you have a symptom. And so most people, watch this is gonna be great. Guys that are patients, how many times do you actually, because you guys have all drank the Kool-Aid, welcome to the club. How many times have you brought this to friends and family and said, man, you need to get your nervous system checked? And people were like, well, you know. Anybody? Come on. Welcome to my world. It's so cold sometimes. But the reason for that is because we're all taught and indoctrinated into a system of living and of health care that bases the enemy on the symptom that's expressed, right? If I have allergies, that's the enemy. If I have back pain, that's the enemy. The problem with it is if you live a life like that, then you're always revolving from fire to fire and you're never getting healthy again. So what is health? Health is not just merely the absence of the expression, it's optimal function and adapting. Everybody say the word adapt. Let me tell you, that's your word this year. Because guess what? It's not going to be straight, smooth sailing in one direction. You're going to have to go here and go doink, and then back it up and go this way, and then adapt, and go this way and adapt. This is going to be you adapting all year long. And it's a good thing. It's going to make you stronger. However, if you don't have a nerve system that you're balancing constantly, every one of you guys is going to hit a point where you don't feel like you can go any further. And I need you to know, just start here. You have got to balance the nerve supply. And I want to say this, subluxation, my friends that are guests here, subluxation is what we teach every day in the office. Now we have the 5 essentials. There's so many people, when I say cancer or heart disease or whatever, you guys have been so educated about what that is, even though a lot of that's wrong. But you've been educated what it is. When I say the word subluxation, nobody knows. In fact, actually, there's misinformation out there to say that this is antiquated. It doesn't exist. It is a falsity that charlatans are talking about this. But subluxation is a movement of the spinal system that surrounds your nervous system. And when it's out of alignment, even a little bit, putting interference, causing a negative expression of how your body actually works and its ability to adapt. Which means what? My neck is, everybody look at me, my neck is forward a little bit. And what's it do? Puts just a little bit of pressure on the nerves in my neck, in my upper back. I have no symptoms, nothing. Maybe occasionally my neck gets a little tired from the computer too long. But that irritation to the nerves, where does it go? It goes to my thyroid, goes to my heart. Leave that there for years or months or years. And guess what? All of a sudden, I get to my 40s and I'm like, I'm just not as energetic as I used to be. Or, it's not as easy to lose weight as it used to be. Or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You guys got that? And sometimes it's gone on slowly where every once in a while you'd sleep and your hands would go to sleep. And then it kind of increased in its frequency to where it's like almost every night you've got some kind of symptom when you sleep because that spot in your spine or your low back or whatever else is irritated. Everybody with me? So this subluxation, real thing. Getting rid of it is a spectacular thing. Can I get an amen from somebody? Amen. Actually, we had a lady, where is it at? Warning signs, and we were talking about warning signs with people last week. First of all, there are warning signs. Number one warning, everybody say number one. Number one. Say number one. Number one, first warning sign is posture, okay? Ladies, if you carry a purse, if you keep it on the same purse all the time, guess what shoulder is going to be high? You think it'd be low if you kept your purse over here, but you have to keep it up so it doesn't slide off. And if you don't think so, put it on the one you never wear it on. Guess what? You're like, I can't wear it on that one. Posture, first warning sign. Also, this just happened the other day. I had a parent with her son, and I had him stand up, and he looked like this. He relaxed his posture, and he was like this. And she goes, I have never noticed that. I had a husband and wife yesterday, and he comes in, and this is not an exaggeration, high shoulder and a head shift to that side. And he's got high blood pressure, right? So goes right to it, right? So right here. And he's standing like this, and his wife goes, oh my Lord. I was like, wait a second, don't make him feel bad. She goes, no wonder. But watch this. How many of us actually look for warning signs like this? Our children, right? Zanae's 10. She said, Dad, can I get a regular backpack? Because her backpack broke the other day. We had to order another one. She goes, can I get a regular backpack? She's 10. She weighs like nothing. And they have like 50 pounds of books that they take. I'm like, no, you're going to roll it. Why? Because these kids put backpacks on. What do? Like this. And then you turn around and you're like, why do they have allergies? Oh, I don't know. Why do they have breathing issues? Oh, I'm not sure. Like, why do they have ADD and attention? They're destroying their spines. Does it make sense? So first sign, warning sign is posture. You should look at your posture often. Some of you guys just run and gun and you never even think about it. Take your spouse or your loved one, stand up in front of you, have them close their eyes, do this, like this, and then relax. Or do it for yourself in front of the mirror and then just wake up and look in the mirror and you're like, oh, Lord, I am crooked. Like, this is the first sign. There are other signs, though, along the way that are expressions that do have symptoms. And that's why I put this in there. Guess this is in your pack. I want you to find this. Guess. Find this. This is basically the number one symptoms that there is subluxation. And this is so important. Guys, this is for you. Patients, this is for you. Why? Because I want you to evangelicalize, if that's a word, this to your friends and family. Because someone has migraine headaches, what are they thinking? A lot of people have migraines. It's just migraines. No. If it's caused by a bone out of place causing changes in the blood vessels in your brain, it's not just migraines. Migraines are the expression. What happens to somebody who's got increased stress on the blood vessels of their brain for a long period of time? Guess what happens to the blood vessel? It gets weak, which is why people who have migraines more than 3 a week are more than 300% more likely to have a stroke in their lifetime. People go, oh, no, it's just migraines. No, but you go through, it's like joint pain, thyroid problems. I just had a lady, she's off of all of her thyroid meds, and her doctor literally told her as she was starting care in the office, listen, chiropractic, quackery, I'm gonna go ahead and test your thyroid, because she stopped her thyroid med. She goes, oh, I'm gonna test your thyroid, and you're gonna see that it's bad, and we're gonna have to get on meds again. She goes, okay. She just kept getting adjusted, got her thyroid check, and the doctor goes, I don't know what to tell you. Your thyroid's working perfectly again, so I guess you don't have to take those drugs. I'm like, hello, right? But tension headaches, fibromyalgia, of course neck pain or back pain, but what about allergies? Do you know how many people have allergies right now? And I'm not saying that subluxation causes all of these things. You could have heavy metal toxicity, you could have mold issues, but the issue is getting down to the root cause. And if you have any of these symptoms, it means that your nervous system is not balanced and you're not having a full ability to adapt. Say the word adapt. That's your word this year, okay? So what does that look like? I love chiropractic. You guys know I love chiropractic. It saved my life. It's what I do every day. It puts a smile on my face. I wake up in the morning saying, thank you, Jesus, I get to go be a chiropractor today. The problem with it is chiropractic, like if you're in a business, I went down to a business meeting one time, and it had a presidential candidate back when Trump was running. And so the only people in the room were people who make like, 7 figures or 8 figures or something like this, and then me. And so I'm like, how did I get in this room right now? And so you had to introduce yourself, who you are and what business or you come from, before you or ask the guy a question. And there was only 20 of us in the room, which is pretty crazy. And so one guy stood up and he goes, so I'm blah, 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 I'm CEO of the U.S.'s largest oil manufacturing, yada, yada. And this other guy, I'm head of the entire healthcare network for all of the United States for these, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a question. He called me. And I'm like, so I'm a chiropractor. And it's almost like someone farted in the room. It's just like, oh, okay. But the reason that chiropractic has a bad rep is because 90% of chiropractors just treat symptoms. It's not what chiropractic is for. It's not what it was designed for. It's not what it started as. And as a result, if you just get adjusted for symptoms and no one's correcting your spine, then guess what? You got somebody popping or cracking your spine that could make it worse over time, right? So what is needed here is specific. What is needed here is correction, and what is needed here is actual chiropractic. This lady comes in. She has got issues with infertility, endometriosis, and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Horrible cycles. She's had 9 miscarriages. It's a Hispanic family, not that it matters, but he has come from a family of 12 kids. And what's he want? Lots of babies. Comes in. What's wrong with her spine? Now, first of all, most chiropractors, most medical doctors would say this is not bad. It's a small little curve. It's not bad. But if I take anybody's spine here, what happens to the body's ability to adapt and balance? It's less, and let that run and play out, right? So this is where there's a lot of these issues coming from. So we started getting her adjusted, got her to her first re-x-ray, made sure she wasn't having, a pregnancy or anything, but got her to her first x-ray. She went from 8 down to 4. Well, guess what happened to her cycle that was nowhere near regular and horrible for 3 days every time she had it? She didn't cry. She was like, hey, this is really working. This is great. Awesome. We kept getting her adjusted, decreased her frequency. Guess what she was doing at home, patients? Went to here, spine's better still, right? Now watch. Cycle's great, goes about 6 months. Guess what? Pregnant. Not only did she get pregnant, she's been pregnant, 9 times. She had miscarriages. Healthy pregnancy. Ankles didn't even swell. Has a great labor and delivery, and they have a healthy baby boy. And I remember all 3 of us crying in room 3 when they came in and took pictures. This literally is specific. This literally is correction, and this is really chiropractic. Okay, does that make sense? But here's the thing. When you do home care at home, like this thing here, this like these neck traction things that you guys have at home, when you do that, you need to keep in mind, you're not doing that so you just correct your spine. You're doing it because every time that you take interference away from the nervous system, guess what it does? It allows you to, what's the word? Adapt. Say adapt. Adapt. And heal, true. Some of you guys said heal. It allows you to heal as well. But that ability to adapt is how you actually get into a situation that's stressful and you can handle it. Got it? That's the secret sauce here, guys. Got it? So the reason I want you to do your exercises at home is not so your neck starts hurting again when it's gone away, or that you decrease the progressive degeneration of a spine that was already degenerating, or you halt it. It's so that you actually can get into a situation and live the life that you're supposed to, right? Fear-free. Everybody with me? Say fear-free. All right, so what does it look like? Well, very simple. It looks like this. So this is an ER nurse, okay? She comes in with migraine headaches 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 days a week. Anybody had a migraine? Like you didn't have to think about it very long. All the time. Now, when she talked, because her family is here and they keep talking to her about coming in, so she mentioned it to a couple of ER doctors. Guess what they told her? Absolute quackery. They could hurt you. Don't do it. Certainly not going to help. And if they're telling you they can correct your spine, they're lying to you. Now, you can't blame them. 90% of the chiropractors out there got it, right? So I don't blame them at all. So this is where she comes in. What's wrong with her head? Should have a curve in her neck. It's what? Straight. It's pulling the spinal cord. It's sensitizing all the pain nerves. So she's got neck pain, upper back pain, headaches. She's got hormone issues. And this is her low back, which should have a curve in it too, right? So you see this? This low back has a curve. So it should have a curve like this. Hers is completely backwards. Do you think it affects her female pelvic floor? Sure. So she comes in. She goes, oh, like some of you guests will do when you get your exam and you look at your x-rays with me. You'll go, oh, this is I had no idea that's what chiropractic was. That's what she told me. And so I started adjusting her, and she started getting a little improvement. Not immediately. She got to do a little bit more. And actually, every time she got a little more improvement, she got more hope. And because she got more hope, she took more action. Because she took more action, she got more results. And because she got more results, she got more hope, which made her do what? Take more action, et cetera, et cetera. And so comes to her re-x-rays. Here's her re-x-rays. Her re-x-rays go from a reversal, -5, to a +28. She goes from a -3 to a +27. Now her cycle is great, but guess what happened to the headaches? Gone, neck pain. And then she goes, I came in here for the headaches. She goes, but I feel so good. She goes, I almost feel guilty that I feel so good. And so she took her x-rays to the doctor that told her not to come in. I won't tell you how that ended up. It's not like he was like, oh, I was so wrong. No, he was just like, yeah, it's probably a fake. But the point is, listen, guess what? Guess how many people have come to my office because of her now? Over and over and over again. Some of you guys are here because of that. But let's do this. So let's just start with one thing. One of the biggest, roughest things on your spine is the fact that everything is so automated on your phone or your computer. Teens spend more than 7 to 8 hours on their phone, just their phone a day. I don't know how batteries can keep up with that. But like you guys, the average person right now spends 6.5 hours on just sitting somewhere, okay? The average for 6.5 hours. Your body was not made to sit, which is why everybody saw that thing that came out 4 months ago that sitting is the new smoking. Did you guys see that? So it's like, you might as well just smoke and walk, right? So it's like, it's just, but watch, it wrecks the spine. So how do we, don't quote me on that. That's not a Twitter feed for me, so just don't smoke. Yeah. Dr. David, my health expert, said, walk and smoke. You probably will lose weight once you get cancer, but it's probably not good. So this is the thing. So how do we get out of this? There's a solution to this, and this is what it looks like, okay? You've got to get over the excuses. Everybody say excuses. Why is it that you don't get moving? You don't get moving because I'm too busy, I'm too tired, I don't have a gym, they closed my gym, it's what? It's Monday, it's too cold, Colette, right? Whatever it is. But listen, there's an answer for every excuse, and Max T3 is an awesome one. Raise your hand if you've seen the bookmark that you as a new patient got that says Max T3 on it. Yeah, so now, everybody just raise your hand and see if it works. So just raise your hand. Yeah, okay, great. So I just want to see if those hands work. Every single one of you got a bookmark. It looks like this. It was in this book right here, and it gives you free access to a workout program at home that you can do on your phone or laptop in your living room, just like this. And there is no excuses, because you don't have to go anywhere. You can put the heat at 85 in your living room. You can wear if he's not working, that's right. So the point is, just do it. Got it? Now, the questions you're going to have is, what are the benefits? Well, great. Short duration, high intensity exercise. Now, some of you guys will look at me and go, well, I got a bad knee or a bad hip. I can't run. I can't run in place. I certainly can't jump. Well, guess what? There's always a version of this that you can do. Right? I had a lady who was in a walker. She was bent over like this, and we had her punching in place really fast to get herself out of breath. And guess what? Because of that, after months of doing that, she was up and out of that. And she wasn't even using a walker or a cane anymore. And so you just have to press in and want it, okay? Now, what are some of the best questions that I have? What's the best exercise for me? Well, I'm going to say doing short duration, high intensity exercise is great for rebooting hormones. But guess what the best exercise for you is? Whatever one that you can commit to long term. Some of you guys just need to enjoy walking, right? Just get out and go do something, okay? The best exercise is one that you can commit to long term. Next question is, when's the best time? So you guys are all on it. The first best time is first thing in the morning, has the biggest bang for your buck. The problem with it is if you can't do something perfect, guess what you guys will do? Nothing at all. And so guess what? Don't do that. First time is first thing in the morning. Second time is what? Anytime you want. I don't care if you do it right before you go to bed. I want you to do it at all times. Make sure you get in there. We've been working out 7 days a week since October 26th, and we've turned up the intensity, right? So work the plan, again, invest the time, and then turn up the intensity. Best time is first thing in the morning or anytime during the day. Now, also, how intense are your workouts? Some of you guys need to crank it up. Here's the thing. If you don't have some sweat bombs around you where you were working out, probably not. I love what she said a while ago. She goes, if someone saw you working out, would they go, man, that was a great workout? Was it a great workout? She made me. You like that, how I said that? She made me the other day. I was on the Peloton, and I got done, and I had soaked the Peloton, and I had soaked the floor around the Peloton, I spilled my drink, and she goes, you are going to clean that up, right? You're not just going to leave that. And there was steam coming off of me, right? So here's the thing. Some of you guys need to make sure that you're committed to that. Now, I said there's 2 ways you need to turn up the intensity. You need to turn up the intensity in your commitment and in your focus. So that includes making sure that your commitment to exercise. So what you're going to do is before you end today, whether it's here or at home, you're going to commit to when you're working out, what you're doing to work out, and how long you're working out. And then if that's not working, guess what you do? Problem solve along the way. Got it? Good.
And I think that's the reason why some of you need to do the challenge. Some of you need someone to kick your butt. We kick each other's butt. When I don't feel like it, he kicks mine. I know I look like I'm the drill sergeant, don't I? My daughter comes up and she's like, oh, she made me. Aww. It's because I love them. So that's the reason why some of you need to get into the challenge, right? I think we have 8 spots left for the challenge. So if those of you are kind of kicking tires, we have 8 more spots left for joining and being a part of the challenge, being a part of the team. I also want you to know that the whole team in this office is doing it. All of our staff, our butts are going to be kicked by the 3 of these girls that are amazing women right here. But we're all doing it as well. One of the things Summer said right out of the gate, so she was like, nope, this team's going to do it too. She said, she just went around and made sure everybody knew. I think she's like a little mini me, maybe. Everybody's going to do this, right? You're all doing it, right? So, okay, so we're going to actually dive into minimizing the exposure to toxins, okay? So I made a list over here before we get into that, and these are sort of like I think almost like the inside margin or something of your journal. Make some of these action steps, just write them down, and then work that system. Maybe you've done half of them and there's a few more that you need to do. So like Dr. David said, be infectious with hope, right? Remember, this is the army of God, right? And our job is to be infectious with hope, right? The hope that he gives, right? The eternal hope. And send it to all of our loved ones, whether they want it or not, right? We bring it, and we maybe are the ones that plant the seed and someone else comes around and waters it, right? Our job is to go around and tell people, hey, come to this event, come to the talk, come to the dinner, let's cook together. Whatever that is, just being a part of and plugging into the 5 essentials. So write these things down, these 4 steps right there. Get a vision, your clarity, your goals. Get rid of the top 20 unhealthy things. That's a barrier, right? This is one of your major minimizing toxins. Some of you are a little scared to go into your pantry. I know you are. I hear this excuse a lot. We're just going to kind of eat everything that's in there first, right? I hear that a lot. We're just going to eat everything, and well, you're just going to continue to stay sick longer, right? So let's just draw a line in the sand and get rid of this stuff. Remember, hormones are all about habits. If you want to heal your hormones, it's about the habits that you are creating today. The 45-day challenge is going to help you create a habit, yeah? And you're going to connect yourself in a community of other like-minded people, give you the connections you're looking for and the commitment that you so desire, right? And you so need. So hormones are about habits. Choose the eating plan. If you're doing the challenge, you already know what your eating plan is going to be, okay? So Monday through Friday, we're going to do what? And we're going to do intermittent fasting. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're going to do core plan. Unless I've already told you need to follow advanced plan. I'm watching you. Flip the switch, so intermittent fasting. Don't eat 3 hours before bed. Sign up for the challenge. Again, I think we have is it 8? Is that right? 8 spots left. And then some of you need to get your weight loss bundle. So those products are going to help you burn the fat that you are so desiring to get rid of. And that dang belly fat, right? Anybody else want to just have a rage on the belly fat? Yeah. I totally want to rage on the belly fat. Okay, so I'm going to unpack a few more things. So minimizing the exposure to toxins. Let's just get mad at one more thing, okay? Let's get mad at one more thing. This is a righteous anger. I don't know if you guys know this, but the process that we've gone through for this whole China virus, and I'm calling it that, the process that we have gone through, right, where we've had our freedoms completely stolen from us and we've been totally lied to, the process that we've gone through has destroyed our immune system because of all the toxic substances. I have patients in my office, and I'm not kidding you, half my age, that come into my office, and when I see their hands, they have aged in their hands so much. They're hard, their skin is hard and dry, and I asked the one patient, I'm like, have you washing your hands all day long? Like, what's going on? Literally half my age, and her hands look 3 times, like 75, 80 years old. It's crazy. And it's because she's so freaked out, she's washing her hands all day long, and then she's using the Purell and the poisonous, antibacterial and the sanitizers on her hands. This is a legit study. They're showing that this very thing, the toxic substances we're using to wash our hands, bleach our countertops, right? Destroy all of us and around us in a cubicle next to us where these smoke bombs are going off and we're toxifying the whole entire business. These very substances are destroying our immune system, which then in turn sets us up for more, what? China virus. Yep. Or whatever the heck other virus they want to come around with, right? So we are literally in this system. We have to be a part of the army and be a part of the master class, be a part of the what? Resistance. We've got to be part of the resistance. We have to bring in and stand up to it. Enough is enough. We've got to stand up to it. So this is one of the biggest things that we're doing. Now, the other thing, I don't know if you guys know this, is that we have actually been exposed to 100,000 new chemicals in the past 10 years. Did you give anybody permission to give you those toxic exposures? No. 100,000 new chemicals that you didn't know about. Maybe one person in the room here knows a whole lot about it. I'm not going to rat on her right now. But, right, we've been exposed to 100,000 new toxic chemicals in the past 10 years. Now, what I say about obesity, obesity is 42.2% right now, right, from 2017 to 2018. 10 years ago, it was 26%. Do you see any parallel? 100,000 new chemicals. So I'm going to show you what those chemicals are doing to us. But this is a big one. We talked about hormones, endocrine disruptors. Everybody say xenoestrogen. All of these chemicals are trashing our hormones, and we didn't give them permission to be in our life. First one that you'll see here are the sprays, the pesticide sprays. I have a patient I just tested last week. I did his metabolics testing. He comes into the office on Thursday. I go through his test results, and his test results showed he had a major liver problem. And didn't have the liver problem before. His liver wasn't detoxing. I said, tell me what's been going on. Have you been around any chemicals? We come to find out if this guy is not working, he's hunting. What does that tell us? If he's spending 30, 40 hours hunting, where is he? He's outside in all the pastures, all the areas that are being sprayed. You know, the little planes come down, right? And they dump all that crap all over you. The animals that we're eating, right? We're hunting and we're killing animals to take home to feed our family, and that's just destroying our hormones even more, right? So he's out walking around, he's hunting, and this guy has been exposed to so many chemicals. And you know what he said? He said to me, he said, now what kind of symptoms would I have with that? And I said, well, maybe you might have a little brain fog, and you might have trouble finding your words. And he goes, oh my gosh. Like, I haven't been able to find my words. Like, I am struggling. And I thought maybe it was just stress or maybe I don't know what I need to do. So he's struggling, can't find his words. Toxic chemicals will do that to you. In fact, these other things like BPAs in plastics. You guys, I remember that when I was an undergraduate getting my business degree, I remember a new degree popped into my university. And it was a degree all about plastics. Anybody else remember that? When plastics started to become popular and you can kind of get a degree in that? Well, we didn't know that this degree was going to be the single most dangerous thing for our health, right? Our kids are getting toys and they're putting them in their mouth, plastics, and this stuff is passed through our DNA for generations. It's a curse that's been passed on to us through generations. We didn't even know. We didn't know anything. We didn't give permission for this stuff to go into our body or into our children, right? So these plastics, they're in our clothing, they're in our food. We're taking our food, heating it up, sticking it in a plastic container, and then all that hot food soaks up the plastic. We're in Texas, we got water bottles in our cars, and the water heats up. You guys ever wonder why when you get that water bottle and you find it and you're like really thirsty and you're like, ooh, that's so gross. That's plastic that's going into your body, the plastics. And so again, these things are causing major disruption in our hormones. All these different major toxins that we didn't ask for, we didn't give permission. No one gave us, no one gave us like a warning sign on all this stuff for our kids or for ourselves, right? And so they're doing it anyway. Now, also another one, pay attention to like your personal care products, right? So aluminum, we've got our deodorants that have aluminum in them. And where do we put deodorant? Right here. And what are women, getting such a high prevalence of? Breast cancer. That aluminum's going straight in and it's soaking into your fat. It's soaking into your fat because toxins are stored in fat cells, which I'm going to show you a picture of that in just a second. It will hang out in your fat. So some of us are hanging onto fat in places we shouldn't be because we're so inundated with these 100,000 chemicals that we didn't give permission to be in our body. That's the biggest thing, obesogen. So just be careful of the makeup, the personal care products, the lotions, the shampoos, the conditioners. We have got to remember this group is red pill. Yes? Yes. This is a red pill group. So this means that when you find something that you find that's toxic for all of us, take a picture of it and share it on Herb Family Friends. this private group that's for all of us so that we can all benefit and grow, because this army is about helping each other and helping everyone else around us, right? So obesogens, makeup, cosmetics. The truth is that Bruce Lipton, if you're a nerd like me, write this book down, get this book, Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. You got the book, you're shaking your head, okay, good. Fabulous book. This guy, he says that about 96, 97% of diseases are all completely preventable, because the thing is, this is quote, genes load the gun, but it's your lifestyle that pulls the trigger. Okay? So that means that you actually have a gun, we all do, right? And that would be our metaphorical genes, okay? So maybe your family passed on, several people in your family have liver or breast or heart disease, right? So you might be carrying that. But the only way this gun becomes deadly is if we pull the trigger, right? And so what's causing us to pull the trigger and manifest these diseases is what we call a lack of 5 essentials. It's a lack of what we teach here in the office. You will not express those genes unless you purposely go after destroying yourself and keep listening to what people are telling you. 40 to 65 grams of carbohydrates every meal, like red pill group here. We are not listening to that anymore. That's the only way we will express these things. Some of us are already expressing them, and so what we're having to do is backpedal, right? And guess what? There's grace for that. There's grace for that. God has given us grace for that. We've got a revelation, and we're going to apply that new knowledge that we've been given today so that we can walk in health.
Gabber.
Epigenetics. What's a gabber? There you go. Give me some of the other ones. That's a gabber. What are the other ones? I don't know what the other ones are called, but anyway. Facebook, I don't know. Okay, so epigenetics. Everybody say epigenetics. So this is really the study of what we just talked about a second ago. That just means that you actually have control of how your genes express themselves. So you may have been, born with blue eyes, dark hair, certain color skin, but you actually have a choice of how you express the things that your parents pass on to you that you don't really want to express. That's the study of epigenetics. And so if we want to follow these 5 essentials, then basically what we're empowered with, don't buy into the gene lie, guys. It is a lie. Don't buy into it. We are empowered to not express the things. God made us perfect. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. We don't have to be in fear that, oh my gosh, someone in my family had breast cancer, someone else. No, that is a lie. Don't buy into that lie. You get to express what you want to express. And these things that we're talking about, work the system, invest the time, turn up the intensity, problem solve along the way. Those are the avenues to be able to help you get there, okay? I just love this clicker. For some reason, it doesn't like me. Okay, master class. People. Raise your hand. Master class. Should I call on somebody from the master class? No, I won't. Okay, I won't be mean. So I was going to have the master class come up and draw the buckets. So I was going to take it off the screen. Anyway, this buckets. We're going to talk about these buckets. These buckets are amazing, okay? So imagine that you have like 30 trillion buckets just hanging on you. It's kind of a weird picture, right? 30 trillion buckets. Those buckets represent your cells. And in those cells, as long as those buckets stay partially full of toxins but not overflowing with toxins, you don't express disease. Again, the whole epigenetics. Genes load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if your buckets become so full of these 100,000 new chemicals and all the other things that you're choosing, the pantry that you choose not to clean out or maybe not exercising, if your buckets get too full with all these chemicals, what happens is they spill. So see the bucket that's spilled? If your cells, all these buckets, get so full of toxins, the toxins will spill. When they spill, that means you now are manifesting some sort of a diagnosis, some sort of a disease. Might start out with allergies, irritable bowel, can't sleep, right? Some sort, MS, autoimmune of some kind. Whatever that is, your body will start to manifest these symptoms because your buckets are too full. That's why we detox. That's why we have a culture of cleansing and detoxing and things like that. We want our buckets to be as the lowest amount of toxins in our buckets so that we can constantly be healing those cells and making new cells that are not manifesting symptoms and diseases. That's really the concept of the whole biology of belief. Now I'm going to stay here on this slide. Can you guys see the process of detoxification and elimination at the top? You guys see that? I'm going to stay here for a little bit. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this slide. Very important. I just told you about all these different toxic chemicals, right? And so what I want you to understand is these detox pathways, the toxins actually enter into your system, your body, through these pathways right here. So let's just hit the first one, your lungs. We just talked about the guy that was hunting, right? What about all the chemicals, right, that people are spraying everywhere, they're all nervous about, right? The lungs. We're getting hit with all these toxic chemicals. So when toxic chemicals come in through the lungs, the next step they go through is the liver. Your liver's your major detoxifier, right? But if your liver's getting so inundated and so clogged up, it's going to have a really hard time exiting, okay? Next piece, let's talk through it. I'm going to go back on that side in a second. Skin. Toxic chemicals get into your skin. Your skin is your largest organ. So what did we say that we're putting on our hands all day long? I mean, the video was kind of funny, but it was right. Every 15 minutes, wipe down the surfaces, right? It's serious. So in your skin, you're putting toxic chemicals, and your body is getting inundated, and it doesn't know how to get rid of it. It doesn't know how to deal with it. The next piece that comes in is through your gut and intestines, so the things that you eat, right? So we're getting toxic chemicals in our system that way. Now it's set up, the system is set up that toxic chemicals come in through these pathways, and they gotta go through the primary detoxifying organ. Now what did I say was happening to this patient? His liver was what? It was not working. It was not detoxifying, so he was manifesting symptoms, right? And so I know one of the major steps that we've got to do is we've got to come back. I'm going to tell you guys in a minute. We've got to help this liver. We've got to help our liver. We've blasted our liver with so many chemicals this past year. Some of us were forced to do it for our job, right? And some of us for our kids, like we're forced to do it, but now the liver's taking the hit. If your liver is the master organ and it needs to filter things, then the next step, what it does is it exits. Toxins will exit naturally. What they're supposed to do is they dump through the skin. So what shows up on your skin when you don't clear up? Eczema, rashes, psoriasis, bumpy, itchy things. You're like, what the heck? Where'd this come from? I didn't know. I'd never seen this before. We're seeing a lot more skin issues. What else? Kidneys. Right? A lot of people, I have so many patients in the office right now with kidney disease, kidney failure. Kidneys are not working, right? So many, colon, irritable bowel, leaky gut, you name it. I mean, you guys can name a ton of different, right? Ulcerative colitis, so many diagnoses. I mean, bouncing back and forth between just simple diarrhea and constipation, right? Or maybe colon doesn't move at all, right? Or maybe way too much. I have a patient 34 times a day. You're not going to live very long 34 times a day like that, right? Next thing is your lungs. So lungs, the body tries to detoxify through the lungs. So if you notice, like, dang, my breath just stinks. My teeth feel like nasty. That's your body trying to dump the toxins through all the major detox pathways. And what happens when the liver isn't able to do its job, you start to manifest symptoms in these different organs. Excess toxins get stored where? They get stored, first of all, what are we talking about? Fat. So if you've gained weight, I have this year, if you've gained weight this year and you've been doing all the things you know to do, then what is probably your primary culprit? Toxicity. It's probably your primary culprit, right? Next place, bone marrow. It's not a place you want to be storing toxins, right? What about your liver? So I'm going to come back to the liver here in a second. Your central nervous system, your brain. I talked to you about the patient whose brain, he couldn't find his words. Couldn't remember. Anybody else in here have like brain fog this year that you don't remember, have never had? Or your eyes this year, like you noticed a dive with your eyes, your vision, your focus? That's your body trying to dump the toxins, and it'll store in the brain. It'll store in the brain. That's what it'll do. So the one organ, what do we say? What else? Where else excess toxins get stored in your joints? Anybody else have more joint issues this year? Like, what the heck? My feet hurt, my elbows hurt, right? Joint issues that you never had before. You never hurt the joint, but now your joints hurt. Toxins have an affinity for these areas. Your blood, that's not a place you want to be storing toxins, right? You ever notice, any of you, that you're more swollen this year? Like, why am I so puffy? Joints are puffy, feet are puffy, like your face is puffy, right? And then tissues and muscles. This is where toxins have an affinity. Now, every one of us might carry it a little bit differently, but they have an affinity for that. I was really excited. Probably some of you maybe have saw my video. But I was really excited because I have not had a liver gallbladder cleanse in the office probably in over a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years. Because we had our clinic in Zimbabwe, and we have liver gallbladder cleanse, and we do parasite and liver gallbladder cleanse all the time in Zimbabwe. And so the company stopped selling them. We were like, oh no, we're done with this. We go through COVID, and I do my metabolic test results, and my liver is like a chronic load of toxicity. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what is going on with my liver? The only place, you guys know I don't have any toxins around me in my personal environment, but every time I go to the gym, you touch the barbell, right? You do your set, you put the barbell down, they come spray your barbell. You got to grab right? Or the dumbbells, same thing. They come and spray the dumbbells, right? Everywhere I go. And I thought, well, I'm really sad that my gym went bankrupt, but I'm not sad that I was touching that every day, 5 days a week, breathing in the fumes because I could smell it every time they sprayed it. And every single time I touched the ball, you're doing wall balls and you touch the ball and they go, come spray your wall ball, throw it up. Like, that's ridiculous, right? That's how it was going. And so for me, I get my test results back and I'm like, what is going on? Why do I have such a chronic level of toxicity for my liver? And so we picked up, this is not on your order form. I'm just going to, sorry guys, team, don't be mad at me. This is the lastminute.com, Dr. Kimberly, sorry. But I have a little instruction kit in here, and it's literally such an easy cleanse you can do to take the pressure off your liver and your gallbladder. Pick a weekend, you eat real light, you take the supplements when you're supposed to. It causes your gallbladder to dilate gently, doesn't hurt at all, it's super cool. And you sit up in bed and you can feel the stones roll out of your gallbladder. And the next day you'll have diarrhea and it's the stones coming out. Then the next day you go to work, you're good to go. And you have literally cleansed your liver and your gallbladder. It's that simple. This is something that I would do every 6 months, and then I just haven't done it for the last 3 years because we haven't had any kids. And so Paige and I were like, nope, this is happening. This is happening. The rest of the team's like, we didn't know you were going to sell this today. Sorry. Here you go. So I have a few of these. If you guys are like me and you need one of those, pick up the liver gallbladder cleanse kits. So here's another reason, guys, this whole process right here. This is another reason, to me, the biggest reason why we actually make sure that we test. Can you guys see how important it is to test and detox and create a culture of cleansing and be very careful to look at your personal care products and your foods and things like that? This is why. Now, anybody have any questions on metabolic testing, the actual test itself? Does everybody feel good about that? I have so many incredible testimonies of people following the testing and amazing life change transformation happens. And to me, it's a guide for you so that you can quit guessing and know the direction that you need to be doing and clean your bone marrow, clean your blood, clean your liver, that kind of stuff.
Let's just pray it up. So we're going to pray for everybody here.
Pray
So
for the
Father, we
army.
just love you and praise you. Thank you for today and giving us a place to safely come and bring our needs to you and our visions and our hopes. And I ask God that as we leave this place, that you make not just the next 45 days be successful for us, for our families, our personal lives, our relationships, but every area of our life, so that not only are we encouraging to one another, but we are infectious with hope for a whole world that needs to know you and to know that you love them. So God, we just ask a blessing on everything that was said today, that it glorifies you, that it brings life to everyone, not just in this room. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys
Love
for coming.
you guys.
Awesome.